Get ready, start. Madam, I rise to support the railway budget presented by Shri George Fernandes for the year 2010 to 11. Shri George Fernandes has his association with the railways for the last 60 years as a labor leader. As a labor leader, most of his energy was concentrated in making demands on behalf of the workers of the railways. Now he has been put in a position to look after the affairs of the railways as also the well-being of the workers who are working with the railways. Since he is at the helm of affairs, since he was a labor leader and his words carry weight with the workers, I hope under his stewardship the workers of the railways would perform better, would do their jobs better, and would see that the railways perform better. In this way, not only would the railways satisfy the people who travel, but also the functioning of the railways in general would improve. The Indian Railways are the biggest network in the whole of Asia and the second largest in the world. Not only the Indian Railways are big in size, but their problems are also big in proportion to their size, and the things that the people want the Indian Railways to do for them are also big. Sir Mr. Fernandes on the 2nd of February had come out with a status paper wherein he has given the current position of the Indian Railways, the problems that the Indian Railways are facing, and also the innumerable demands, including the demand for providing employment on a large scale in the railways to the unemployed. I hope that in this discussion on the railway budget, the participants would offer some constructive, useful and practical suggestions. Mr. George Fernandes, when he had to prepare and present this budget, had very little time to do that, probably less than 100 days. But even within that short period, sir, he has come out with some new ideas, with a new approach with regard to the functioning of the railways. He has laid emphasis in the budget on modernization, on energy conservation and on computerization wherever it is necessary. Though he has expressed his helplessness in providing more jobs to the unemployed in the railways, he has tried to generate jobs outside the railways with the help of the railways. It may relate to afforestation and things like that. He has extended the computerization of bookings from the present 4 metropolitan cities to 5 more cities, among which Bengaluru is included. Whenever an air accident takes place, the compensation that is paid is very high. What Mr. Fernandes has done is that in the case of the railway accident also, he has raised the amount of compensation from the present rate of 1 lakh rupees to 2 lakhs of rupees. In accidents, whether it is the rail accident or air accident, the loss of life is the same, and any life lost can never be recovered. Another thing that is to be welcomed is that he is going to provide more accommodation and more seats to the second class passengers by gradually withdrawing the first class AC coaches and the first class coaches. I hope while withdrawing these facilities and extending them to the second class passengers, the existing comforts and facilities of the second class would further improve. I hope in all second class carriages cushion seats are going to be provided. Socialism is not leveling down, but socialism is leveling up. When we withdraw facilities from the higher levels, the facilities for the lower level should be improved so that the travelling comforts for the lower level improve. Another innovative idea that Shri George Fernandes has thought of amidst the constraint of resources is financing the West Coast Railway Line, which is popularly called the Konkan Railway Line. This railway line was initiated when Professor Madhu Dantavate was the railway minister about 12 years ago. Once that government went out of power, this scheme got put into cold storage. Of course, in the last year's budget, Shri Madhavrao Sindhia had made some provision for construction of the line from Mangalore to Udupi, but the construction work did not start. Now Shri George Fernandes has come out with a novel idea of associating the states which are going to benefit out of it, namely Maharashtra, Goa and Karnataka, by raising certain contributions from these three states, by raising certain contributions from the public and certain contributions from the railways as well as from the journal exchequer. If this scheme had not been thought of, and if this had not been taken up in the normal course and under the normal procedure, this railway construction would have taken 15 years to complete. Now that a new method of financing this project has been initiated, the railway minister has promised that construction of this railway line is going to be completed within 5 years. I wish that this scheme succeeds, not that it succeeds for the sake of the Konkan Railway, but this would open up a new era for taking up other essential constructions where those projects could not be taken up because of shortage of funds. I hope the railway minister, who is a person of many ideas, many innovative ideas, would also think in terms of, if possible, self-financing schemes. Every year costs go up. Any project that is done today is cheaper than it would be tomorrow. He, in his status paper, has asked whether the money should come from the central government or whether it should come from the Railway Finance Corporation or from market borrowings, where it is going to cost a little more. In any case, I personally feel that these projects, important projects, should not lag behind on the ground of funds not coming from the central government or state governments. Even if it is costly, the money should be borrowed from the Railway Finance Corporation. Full stop.